Oh, yes.
Start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Call the meeting to order. Flag salute. Now we'll go ahead and we'll start in person if we have public comment. But keep in mind that for discussion purposes, we're not going to do another public comment at the end, but for discussion purposes, when we get to in particular the sewer, that'll be open for discussion beyond scope of just public comment, but that also will be very specific to the subject matter, not open for anything else and go down any other rabbit hole, if you will. So if anybody here in the room would like to get up to a few minutes, 3 minutes of public comment, you're welcome to do so.
John, I'm confused. Are you saying there'll be a public comment period for this super?
It's yeah, I'm referring to that as the public discussion. Yes.
So there'll be.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to limit it to the 3 minutes for that matter because that was a significant part of today's meeting. Yeah, but you're also welcome to do a public comment. Start it out. Okay, cool. Good morning. Okay. Okay.
You sent a letter in. My first comment is the Port of Allyn is a small agency, it's a small warehouse, but it has important work to do. And I think you all are committed to that. And I wouldn't question, I would stand up here and say something that would be said here like we should stop. Because I think that's inappropriate. You were elected by folks, and you should serve your terms and do your job. And I think you endeavor to. I don't think you're bad or malice in your heart or for intent, but you have limited. None of you work here professional. You have limited personal capacity. You're not in commercial real estate, or if you have it in the past, you haven't been successful at getting the endeavors done. So I would caution your board for not getting involved unless it has the capacity to really be a partner. You're a bad partner if you comment on things you don't know about. I would be a bad partner to comment on your water system and know very little about it. But it has been in the news recently, and I have read articles about it. I've watched a few meetings, but I don't know. So I think you would say, David, what are you talking about commenting on something you haven't looked at, engineering or delved into it? I think the board was misguided when it commented on the sewer sale that benefits children and trust beneficiaries that can't advocate for themselves. I think the board was misguided, but I understand why. People come in and they speak passionately, and cutting trees is a business I understand a lot about. So I understand the passion behind those moments. Let's not do this. It's going to cause harm. And rightfully so, you advocated for something that would supposedly do no harm. And then you understood the trustees' dilemma, not being able to speak for themselves. That money goes to students. And you pulled back in that position. I would say that when people come in and ask you to take a position on something, you are being used as a political pawn at best, or you're regurgitating other without doing that. Once I want to be a partner, I appreciate that, but I also understand that you have some, maybe folks are sitting here at the table for 20 minutes at a time. So if I go a few seconds over, I apologize. I think that you don't want to regurgitate other people. Do the research, talk to the other folks, if you want to take a position on something. And then ask yourself, is it in your mission? I heard something that, and frankly, Chidi, you and I served on the EDC board for a long time. We're on the Belfair Village Community Plan. We've talked about the sewer talked about our utilities in the area. We both been passionate about our community. Both lean in. If you want to lean in, it's a lot of money. And I'm not quite sure you have the capacity. So you can do the same thing that we all. You can trust your other elected representatives to do the work. And for them to make reasonable decisions. I think it is very problematic for you to issue statements about topics that other people are very passionate.
All right, thank you.
And not be able to complete the work that you already have. Thank you, Mr. Wood.
All right. So, we have any other public comment? Okay, if there's anybody else in the room, we'll do that first. If not, then we'll go ahead and go to the online. All right, we've got Mr. Van Busker. Go ahead and, you've got 3 minutes if you would, please. You got public comment?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Again, I couldn't hear on Zoom. Like last time, you can't hear the speaker. And I recognized the voice, but I could hardly hear what he was saying. So for my public comment, I sent you several emails yesterday, and you called a special meeting, and several of the items on the agenda can and should be addressed at a regular meeting. You're not going to take any action today, and you wouldn't take any action until a regular meeting. Both Sweetwater corrective action progress, the port's request for an extension to that plan, and Mason County Belfair Sewer extension require no action today. And I felt it should be removed from the agenda so that you can have robust public input and commissioner discussion and action at a regular meeting. And I'd urge you to do that at your next regular meeting. I sent you a public records request this morning regarding the 0.09 monies that's on the agenda. And I hope you can clarify whether or not during your discussion today, whether you have applied for it or you haven't. I have the impression that it's not real clear what it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Is everybody else online like to speak, public comment? All right.
Yeah, I'd like to jump in. Yeah, commissioners, this was going through the public responsibilities of port commissioners, and planning, goal setting, and evaluation is number 1, policy making number 2, number 3, budgeting, and number 4, hiring and oversight of the executive director. So the what we're seeing a lot of from the port is a lot of planning and focus on items that are not related to economic growth and development. And the port is actually acting as a de facto extension of the Parks Department. And we need to get back to the charter of what the Port of Allyn is here to do, and that's to promote economic growth and development. And that's very clear. The port website mentions that. In regard to policy making and goal setting should revolve around the charter of the Port District in Allyn. Budgeting, we've got some concerns about budgeting. We're going to address those at another time. Hiring and oversight of the executive director. We understand that Director Merrill was the former security guard of the Port of Allyn prior to his sudden promotion to executive director. Of the 75 port districts in Washington state, how many of those port districts do you think would promote their security guard to executive director with no prior experience? Of the private businesses in Washington state, how many would promote their security guard to CEO of the company? These are questions the commission needs to ask themselves. Secondly, in regards to Sweetwater Park, which is on the agenda for today, why did the commission authorize Director Merrill to go in and cut trees in a critical area buffer without a permit? How many of the 75 port districts in Washington State would authorize their director to do that? In regards to those trees, there was a hung tree that was left that was cut clearly. That's a violation of Washington State L&I codes and also OSHA. OSHA penalties exceed $16,000 a day for those types of violations. So these are serious issues. That tree needs to be marked per code, per the requirements of state law, and dealt with and get down, and needs to be taken down mechanically as quickly as possible. So these are the issues I wanted to bring up today. I'm running out of time, so I thank you for the time to speak today.
All right, thank you. All right, anybody else online would like to make a public comment on the subject matter of today's special meeting? If not, do you want to, we're going to go back to the in-person here. Okay. Would you like to speak this morning? You want to have a comment?
No, I'm just here.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so then we'll go ahead and move on to the discussion on the Sweetwater Corrective Action Progress Update. So we got.
So the commission would like, I can explain some of the moving parts of the summary.
Yeah, let's do that. Thank you.
As you know, we had a deadline set, our previous RCO approved plan for corrective action of August 29th. So I made sure that we had a special meeting set before that so that we could address that deadline, whether we needed or not.
Okay.
And of course, we weren't able to meet that deadline.
Right.
But we also coordinated with the RCO, and the RCO did provide an extension to that deadline to March 31st, 2026. You saw the letter provided in the packet awarding that extension. And the corresponding reasoning in the request. Was there any questions about the request, the extension request content that was approved?
Yes. No. Okay.
It looks like in the letter, it says we've applied for Mason County Rhode Island funds, and we're still working on that application. It has not. So that's a little bit of a misrep, but I will make sure that I send an email to clarifying that. The targeted brownfield assessment was awarded by the Department of the EPA. Basically, they're going to come through and do all of the environmental planning for us on their dime to get us to the point where we can apply for the funds to actually do the work of cleaning up Sweetwater. So that's a great milestone to achieve there. They're still going out to bid for a new, basically environmental engineer that does the work for them.
Okay.
They are between contracts right now, so we have a few month lag before we get those meetings set up according to the letter that they sent. And we have applied for a ticketing permit. Currently in process, hasn't been fully processed through yet.
Can't hear out here.
Okay. So we have applied for the tree cutting permit with Mason County Community Development, and we are still waiting on a word back from that, if that's approved or not. I should hear back not too soon. I do believe that there's some additional information that may be required. We'll get back to them as soon as that has been accomplished. Other than that, like I touched on the 09 funds, we haven't applied for those yet. They just have been reported. We're still collecting our letters before. So we send those out soon. Any additional questions on that?
None here.
None.
Okay.
Move on to the next topic.
Okay, so, as far as the Mason County Belfair Sewer Extension, we are not taking a position against any direction on here. The only thing that we wanted to make a statement on, which is pretty clear in our letter, is that it needs to have a full analysis on it to see how it's going to impact the 9,000 people that we have in the North Mason area. And it's important to understand as a commission, it's like we aren't making or breaking a deal there, whether it happens or not. But we've been asked for a long time to take a position from various sides of the coin. And we chose to finally just basically say what I think is the obvious, that there needs to be a feasibility study and how that's going to impact our local community as a board with 9,000 people in the North Mason area, that we as commissioners have a responsibility to at least understand which direction, how it's going to go. I mean, we'll go from there. So it's this letter that we have right here that we signed with the commission. It's simple, that we believe the decision on this magnitude requires a comprehensive, transparent review process. It would be need to have a full cost benefit analysis. We use that fancy language. Well, it does need to have a study. We just don't go ahead and prove something without completely understanding how that's going to impact our community. It's that simple. So we're not against it. We're for development. That's who we are as a board. But to get our teeth, to get our head wrapped around it and chew on it pretty hard would require more information. I don't think it's been done with the study. That's how it's going to impact traffic. That this would have been a great. This would have been a great place to bring it to the table and have a discussion, because I have not seen how it's impacted personally. Where is that? That study that you're talking about?
I'm happy to address that.
Yeah, it's open for discussion.
Sure, happy to
Yeah.
discuss it. So for the last 20 years,
Uh-huh.
Mason County, that county, city of Bremerton, Port Orchard even, that talked about regional sewer discussions in the area.
Right.
All of these things, the Board of Allyn at times have been part of. Judy, you sat at some of those meetings as well. So the fact that you say you are not knowledgeable.
No, the study, right, the current study on how it's impact. Our
on
current,
which
impact our
You need-
businesses and
you need
impact
a
traffic.
plan at the Port of Bremerton.
If
You
we,
need a plan. In the sub-area plan, what are you actually asking for in a feasibility study? You don't know.
a cost analysis on how it's
Of
going
what?
of how it's going to impact our local businesses. There's a
Did you do that when you bought the water system? Did you do a feasibility study, or did you go through an orderly process
That's
to
a-
make a decision?
that's a really quite a stretch.
You have not.
That's
It's a stretch.
Yeah, that's a stretch because
We're saying there should be a feasibility
This is-
study on any utility extension.
well, that's a distraction. So
It's not a distraction. I can tell you, just a matter of fact.
Yeah.
You're worried about retail development on the other side of the county line. 200 yards from where the sewer system currently is. If I want to do retail there, it's currently zoned for it. I can put in a septic system and build whatever I want under state law. A federal tribe
that's true.
does that under federal law. So all the actions that you're saying you would like to study to see their impact
I want to see how it's going to impact.
are currently.
I'm not.
Are currently legal
So
and allowed.
a business
No
model.
one is advocating for that to happen.
I
No
don't.
one is doing that.
Okay.
Someone is putting a straw man in front of you and saying a Home Depot or some other action that no one is proposing.
Well, we don't
I
know.
can tell you today, and over the last 20 years, Judy, we've worked on things to try to bring businesses to the community. We have sites in the Belfair UGA that we're developing that could house a Home Depot that currently has sewer, currently has water, currently has power and appropriate zoning. Why isn't there one in Belfair?
Well, why is it that they need our sewer then if they already have that?
Because we're shipyard, industrial development related to the Navy. There is a project called SIOP, which is a $10 billion upgrade to the naval shipyard. But this investment of industrial land in western Washington is around the Port of Bremerton. It's been that way for 20 years. We've been trying to do this. We've had regional programs to try and bring sewer to the area. The lowest cost operation other than septic, which we can currently do. The Port of Bremerton's been on septic for 50 years. Belfair was built on septic.
Is the Port of Bremerton, on board with, this current, in moving forward currently with,
They want service and they are working with the city of Bremerton to develop it.
are they on board with the concept right now of utilizing our sewer system and
Yes. if
they
it
are
can
on board
be
with that?
extended. I have talked to all three commissioners and their executive director, and they've been talking with the city of Bremerton for 15 years about this. They don't want to be in the sewer business.
So the other question I have, is our sewer system right now, in the capacity that it's working in good shape? Is it functioning well? No
it
issue?
needs more connections.
Well, aside from the need more connection, I'm talking, is it functioning well just the way it is?
The Department of Ecology looked at some issues.
How did that
been
go?
In place since construction
How did that
of
go?
the facility.
How did that, did they look at it recently?
They were up there yesterday, in
Okay.
fact. Commissioner
Find any
Miller
issues?
Took Steve Dunkel and a reporter in a personal vehicle out there to go and attend a regulatory meeting.
Fair enough.
So you can talk to the commission about that. You can also talk to the Department of Ecology and your partner in the county.
Did they find any issue with it currently, just the way it is?
Are you asking?
I
about
mean,
the
well,
letter?
yeah, I wasn't there.
I wasn't there either.
Oh, okay,
They just drove through my
Okay.
free farm together.
all right.
I was informed that they did find issues. The ecology said that they couldn't go forward with it. We could, that until they fixed a leak and other things, I guess,
Couldn't go.
Hmm.
the extension. The
Ecology
ecology is,
said so.
Well,
that's what I was,
we can't
Who
speak.
told you that,
Hmm.
Michael?
I'm not gonna get into.
No, I don't.
Is that because they, that becomes
Transparent.
further.
Michael, you're not getting into it.
Did
Because
you
you
have,
guys are, you're
We're-
working as.
this-
political
so we're opening this up,
for-
okay,
Well,
so
then
we're
that's-
here for further the discussion. Do you have something you want to add to this? You don't mind, for all parties?
I'm gonna stand here only, hopefully Ken, you can hear me. That's why I'm standing here. is
Yeah, that works.
I'm close to that. But I just wanna give some perspective. So I'm Will Harris, I live in Allyn, I'm a professional engineer in the state. So we talk about, we wanna protect businesses. And to protect the business, we should do study before we support a business. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so where is this study that looks at the impact for grocery outlet? I understand it's in Mason County. I'm really confident it's going to affect Safeway, EQC. So where's that set? And where are we standing up for or against whatever our position is? And I don't think there is one. And the issue is a lot of what Mr. Overton read. So let's talk about a couple of why welfare sewer. Second one is engineering reasons. Cost is a fact, I believe, but more importantly, it's technical engineering. So when you put stuff, sewage into a pipe, and that sewage sits there, it festers, it becomes hydrochloric and sulfuric acid, it eats away at the pipe. If it flows, that's less of a problem, because it's not sitting there and festering. It's sort of like putting garbage at the bottom of a can and never changing it, it sort of grows. And so what's happening is when we have initially very low flow, what you're gonna end up with that stuff festering. If you can push it to Belfair, a shorter distance, and pushing it down to Gorse or out to Silverdale is better. Technically, and from an engineering perspective, cost and other factors, someone else can get into that. We talk about capacity. Let's talk capacity real high level. Our sewer plant is a collection system, that's pipes to the plant. It's 1 million gallons at the plant. When fully built out, Commissioner Nevin was absolutely correct about a week ago to know that right now it's maybe 250,000 gallons because of how it's set up, the lack of membranes. Okay, and that's the right way to do it because we don't have a flow to maintain a full system. When fully built, it's 1 million. The retention pond is $1 million, the Springfield is a little less, and Maine time is expensive. Right now, we're permitted 125,000, we're seeing 80 to 90. If you add every house projected for the next 20 years from the Department of Commerce in North Mason, everything from Allyn, everything from Belfair, you stick it all on the sewer system. That's gonna add about 400,000 gallons a day, and that's based upon ordinance and requirements of sizing. You add 160,000 gallons on top of that, you're somewhere around 750,000 gallons. So in another 20 years, we're only at best 75% used out. Okay? As far as the pond, does it need repairs? Yeah, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. At Planning Advisory Commission a month ago, this very topic came up. Richard Dickerson, our utilities engineer for Mason County, observed that there are 2 departments from Washington State Department of Ecology in one with different opinions. And those professional opinions sort out. But whether it needs repair or not is irrelevant to this conversation, because that repair has to be done whether you add 160,000 gallons from industrial water or not. That is a bill, in my humble opinion, that should be more by Mason County. However we come up with the funds, it's state, federal, local, commissioners will work through that. But it's an existing problem. Even if the permission was given today, full permission, go build, we're not going to see a drop of sewage in 2 years. We have time to go fix the pond if needed. All right, and when we talk about ultimately this study, what do we really need? Don, the ILA takes it to exactly what it needs to be. It provides the engineering. It brings together Bremerton, Mason County, and we end up with a design, a possibility how to go. How big is the pipe coming in from Kitsap? Where is it connected? What's that cost? What do we have to do to plant on Sprayfield for the 160? Again, that's a 20-year run. It's a long time. That gives the facts, not only part of the discussion. The other part with regards to impact to businesses, do we charge an out of area fee? Do we split sales tax somehow?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the decision of the board of county commissioners.
That-
No study,
Yes.
no study can figure that out. That is embedded in the negotiations between Bremerton and Mason County at the legislative level, and for us, Mason County, that is our 3 board of commissioners. So all we can do, we need to do is sign this out. It should have been signed 6 to 12 months ago. We should get the engineering facts in front. So Commissioners Netherland, Arsenal, and Trans have information to where they can then enter into viable negotiations in good faith with the city of Bremerton. If the answer is yes, if the answer is no, great. But right now, we don't even have the facts. In fact, we aren't even looking for the facts because we refuse to sign this out.
It was signed, well, they didn't sign it, they agreed to sign it. What was it, 2 days? 2
It
days ago?
should have been 6 months ago. The letter came in September. Why in the world would a letter come in September 24 and not get publicly pushed out until May? That's a long time. Of course, there was an election in May of 24. Maybe that's where it is.
All right, well, I just, as a board, we're bringing it up to discussion because there's a lot of moving parts to this whole thing. I mean, you bring up a good point. So the bottom line is that there are things outside scope of this whole thing that we don't completely understand. All we're looking for is something that shows us how that will impact it, because there's a bigger picture that you're all looking at regarding growth, economic development that we're all for. But we're looking for how that's going to impact our local businesses and the 9,000 people we have as a small board. So if we're not, it's interesting you said at one point you said you're here obviously because we do have a voice, right? I mean that you.
No, I'm here because I believe in long permission of the out.
Yeah.
My family is in here longer than the port's been established here, we have a business at the head of the bay, and I care about this community.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing that you guys are being led down the path,
Okay,
and I'm saying this with kindness in my heart. I'm here to talk to you in public.
Yeah.
Michael, you just said you wouldn't talk or wouldn't say to people that you're talking to. I think a public discussion is great, so I'm here to do that.
yeah,
And I'm saying this, the port has limited capacity. It has things that are very important to this community.
yes,
The park here, I'm a large proponent of. The dock, that is a huge asset. The water system, I don't understand. And I thought it was confusing when it was expanded to a piece of property that the executive.
I think there is a way to look at how this would affect this.
But the port has limited. 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The port came to me about industrial development. And they asked a firm. And they hired a firm, NBDJ, and spent about $100,000 with them. And the reason we looked at it, because I didn't know what the port's capacity was at the time, they figured out the project was the order of magnitude 4 or 5 times greater than what the port could afford. It couldn't afford to buy the land, couldn't afford even through direct grants to put up the buildings. So we both said, this doesn't work because the port is capacity constrained.
Right,
And we walked away from that because it was a bad investment. And the port realized it didn't have the capacity to do industrial development on that scale.
okay,
And so that's when I looked at working with the Port of Bremerton and Mason and Kitsap counties in the city of Bremerton to try and bring jobs to the area. And so because I care about this port, I don't want it to see it delve into areas that are big regional projects when it doesn't have the expertise or the capacity to do it. That would be a full-time job.
we're not pretending to be expert in this area.
You are giving
They're not giving advice.
You're asking
We're not
for
opposed to club.
a full feasibility study.
Well,
Said it was fancy technical.
You have a business model, right, set up for,
I do have a business
right,
model.
okay, well, what, and I'm not asking for your full business model, but I'm interested to see what that
And
business
I'm not
model.
asking for yours.
Okay, I'm interested to see it, because once you hook something up like that, it's
What do you
like
mean?
the whole,
What?
the sewer
To
to,
what? To land?
to an area that's not
being
developed
zoned
yet.
for industrial development,
Okay, I
has
get
an
it.
airport and 3,000 jobs.
It's gonna grow, and it's okay.
There's also some other problems that I've been made aware
By who?
of.
Otherwise, we don't know.
Okay, I know this is all, okay, I've talked to both commissioners. I've talked to two commissioners. No, not the four commissioners,
What commission?
county commissioners. I've talked to Randy.
And
Okay.
who's the other?
And I've also talked to Pat. I've also talked to Steve Duncan,
The county auditor.
the county auditor, about the
And the
fact,
head of the
okay,
Republic
can I
Department.
finish?
I'm clarifying.
Doesn't matter, this isn't a hit list of who I've talked to. The point is this. They all have stated that there's also a problem with easements. A lack of easements for the sewer lines. You can't, we do run a water system. There has to be,
County utility director who knows about easements, everything in the asset. You have a water company. You have easements for your water company.
Exactly.
Who would you go and talk to about an easement when you need to verify is your line in an area? Who would you talk to? Would you talk to the county auditor? Would you talk to, I don't know, a county commissioner about where your easement is? Or would you talk to your engineer? You probably talk to your engineer.
Yeah.
So I have a question for
We're
you,
happy to answer.
and really it's in regard to some of that, because you were at the voice meeting, which I
Yes.
appreciate you being at, by the way, because, the community is convinced that you are the big property owner, that you have the springs to pull. Wait, let me finish. So some of those easements were a big concern. Do you allow, the environmental health to get on easily? Are there problems with that? The fact that you own the property, you know, there's easements.
Do you want me to answer them at the end or in line?
Right now,
Right now. There is no problem.
Okay,
Judy, they were up there yesterday. In fact, Randy was up there. In fact, Randy was being driven by the county auditor and a reporter in a personal vehicle, which isn't allowed instead of being a county vehicle. That's a huge insurance issue. They were coming out. All the commissioners were out there other than Pat Tarswell, as well as a dozen folks from Department of Ecology and county staff. I don't know what the meeting was at because I wasn't invited to go. So
you have to be there. I mean, is it because it's your property or does it?
I was there because we're doing a development up on the hill and we drove past.
Okay,
I would be interested in,
And I can answer the easement question as well.
yeah, please do.
how
If
can-
you don't mind,
I don't mind,
I'd
but-
like to have answered.
So the county wanted to extend service
Mm-hmm,
and you were on a sewer advisory committee. Which
Right.
Came up with 20 recommendations.
mm-hmm,
In those recommendations, trunk line extensions, public-private partnerships, and economic development, all of those were in there. So the county looked at providing service to an area. And they did a cost benefit analysis for extending the trunk line. And they extended the trunk line over my property. Do you know why? It was cheaper. Do you know when the sewer system was built in Belfair? And Commissioner Netherland has said over and over again, this has never been done. It's never been run through one property owner's land. Go and look at a map, the Belfair sewer system and the property owners. And Judy, you know this well, because on the other end of this housing subdivision, you own property.
Right.
On the north side, it's a long skinny little bottleneck, of which the trunk line for the sewer system runs through. Who's the owner of that? Jack Johnson. Then it goes and runs through, above Sweetwater Creek, all of their property to get up to the treatment plant. That's also Jack Johnson. Guess whose property the lift station is on? Jack Johnson. So when the sewer treatment plant was built, they did the exact thing that they're doing now. There was a utility extension. They asked for easements. Randy demanded that I donate the land. That was his demand. So I worked with the county to make it more affordable. And then I get told that I was given a $5 million gift. We have over 420 connections that have been developed up on that hill. We have another 250 that we'd like to do an additional development. It will, just like when Belfair sewer went from your property and you hooked up, you paid a fee
yeah.
and you didn't like it. I don't like it when I pay a fee.
I also know it's necessary.
It is necessary. What did your fee do? It paid back the debt and your monthly pays the operational maintenance. This is sewer and utility business 101. You are a utility provider. You know this. It's no different than up there. Can we block an agency from extending utility for our product when they have eminent domain and they also have a 20-year working relationship with? No, we don't do that. In fact, Judy, the sewer ends at Mason Transit. We advocated to go across the highway and serve all of the industrial land on the other side, of which I used to own a fair amount of. Why did we do that? To get more users. Mason County could not secure an easement from Washoe. They couldn't go fast enough. They had millions of dollars in that same package that they could have applied to take under the highway and service all of that industrial.
Mason County.
Mason County, they returned the money. And there may be someone behind me shaking their head. And I can tell you that they're facts. I'm not embellishing this. There was a grant, the same grant that paid for the sewer extension. You say, oh, you can't go to Department of Commerce and change that granting. I can tell you there's a man here who does just that for a living and is elected to do it. He's done it on the Belfair Freight Corridor to make sure the project goes forward. We won't deny easements for people that want service Because I'm not a utility provider. You are, you know better than I do. If the county needs an easement from me, they'll come and they'll assess it, they'll appraise it. They can buy it, we can sell it, we can donate. All of those are normal things. We're doing that with Washtenaw right now. So it's a crazy, nonsensical, political argument that people are putting in your head. And it's not true.
Well, I have to say, I personally don't think it's necessarily a personal vendetta. That's been the other thing that's been floating around, you know, like some of the other things. And I'd like to hear what's going,
Judy,
but-
when it's meeting
yeah.
and it's all focused on $5 million gift,
Mhm.
if someone did that, it would be massively illegal.
Right.
And who should that person, if a county commissioner believes that, they have a prosecutor. Go to them. Oh my God, they gifted public funds. We should sue that person to get our money back. There was no gift. Judy, if I got a gift, you got a gift. When that sewer ran in front of you, did it feel like a gift?
Well, yes and no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They provided you service. They were providing me service. Guess what my rate is now? $13,000+ per ERU. Guess what it was just a few years ago? 7.
Okay.
Right.
So it's not a gift. It gets paid back. If you don't understand this, it's the same way that when you guys church.
So from the standpoint of us as a commission, I'll speak for myself, but.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead. No, please.
Because this new ILA, you know, I watched the meeting on this Monday, I guess it was Monday. And this is a little better, I think. Well, you talked about why was it sitting around for a while? I don't know either, but it's here now. So let's go forward. And I think this one is good, and I think they're willing to sign this. And I don't really know exactly what, you know, we don't have a big dog in the fight, I guess is what you could say. I appreciate the fact that everybody's here, at least giving us a voice. But
Right.
really, as you well know, it is up to the commission. And, you know, Randy's heart is in this community. He's fought hard and long for us. And I have to say, there's been a lot of good things that he's done too. So I want to support some of that. Now, you know, I'm not just trying to throw you under the bus here either, Dave, because you have done a lot. Your family have worked with your dad. You guys have given a lot to this community, and I appreciate that. So, but again, it's up to the commissioners. And I trust what they're gonna do. And this one I'm more comfortable with.
Judy, if someone were saying that you took money from the Port of Allyn, you know what I would say? I don't believe it. Why? Because I think I know who you are. If someone came up and said, you enriched yourself, right? I think you would argue, I've given more than I got, right? You've gotten a lot of experience, and you've given a lot of time. I'm in a very different position. I don't have the safeguards of publicly elected office. So when electeds come out and say, you got a $5 million gift, guess what I get to do? I get to sit down and eat that sandwich. I get to eat the steak and the big potato, right? It's just how it is. I have to do it, and that's okay, because I'm not leaving, I'm not moving anywhere, and I can deal with political pressure. But it does feel like it's pointed at me when all arrows are pointed at me over a $5 million gift that didn't happen. We went through a public process. I sat through more meetings like this during COVID in my home and hearing people tell me how terrible I am. And you know who stood up for me? Very few. And I think that is wrong. So that is the definition of a vendetta. When someone makes you singled out, the over on the hill. And I can go back up to my tree farm and do the things that I do and live a very happy life and go run around with my dog, ride a horse, do all those things.
Yeah.
But when you want to work in the public sector,
Yeah.
you get opened up to this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why it feels like a vendetta.
Do you mind if I jump in first?
Yeah, please.
Okay, and only because I have to go soon.
Okay.
But, you know, I've been around North Mason for a while. I also deeply care about this community, right? And there is a puzzle happening right now in North Mason. And it's not just water and sewer. It's millions of dollars of investments for PUD 3 power substations.
Right.
It's for massive upgrades that, I've invested in the last session for the Belfair Water District, all up and down, not just down 106, but down Highway 3 as well. Massive upgrades to not only the interior of Highway 3 into Belfair for widening in the past, but also, tens of millions of dollars for a Highway 3 freight corridor, the Belfair bypass. And when you start adding a lot of these things up, including the fact that my seatmates and even Tim Sheldon before me were investing heavily into the Belfair sewer to keep it solvent through direct funds or loan forgiveness at least 3-4 times, bailing out the Belfair sewer on the backs of the taxpayers of the state of Washington. And meanwhile, we have done almost literally net zero growth for the sewer in over a decade.
Right.
And I was one of the people who was ferociously opposed, as were most of our community at the time. It wasn't any of our fault that we got this sewer. Maybe it was a little bit of our county commission's fault, not the ones we have today at the time for overbuilding the sewer, but these are problems of the past.
Right.
And I only have one interest, and that is the people and the businesses and the well-being of North Mason and Mason County. And right now, we're looking at gift horse in the mouth. I simply do not agree with or understand that there is any reasonable argument that we are going to leak this massive amount of sales tax. Let's check the facts real quick. The Port of Bremerton does not need us. They do not need to connect to our sewer. They could zone however they want. They haven't done any differently than they've done in the past 20-something years. But they could simply not hook up to our sewer and build a Home Depot right now if they wanted to. Have they? Will they? No. Sales tax follows retail, which follows rooftops. Rooftops exist in the Belfair area, in the UGA, and the Belfair sewer has a duty to serve every rooftop in the UGA, just as the sewer is extended behind the Safeway or to some of your properties in Belfair. Whether you develop it or not, the sewer is there for when someday you choose to develop that. That's not a gift. And to classify $5 million as county funds that will never get paid back to the county, well, the county never spent a dime. This is public works assistance funds from the state of Washington, a low interest loan of 0.5% that will have to be paid back upon development. There's about as little carryover risk as you can possibly imagine. So are we going to spend another decade cutting off our nose to spite our face, not throwing our way out of the sewer situation, not stabilizing rates, not allowing for what I read in the 2016 Kitsap Sun, Judy, about the desperate need for North Mason to build more housing? Those were your words.
Yeah.
We definitely need to build more housing. We're in a housing crisis in Washington State, and the state legislature, one reason or another, yes, it shoved the sewer down our throats, the Growth Management Act. Nobody likes that. But here we are. We're not fixing that now, sad to say. But we have a chance to build housing, and we're utilizing state loans, low interest, state funds. This ILA and the study we're talking about is a $3 million expenditure from me, from the state legislature, from the operating budget committee I sit on. And that was asked to me by all 3 of our Mason County commissioners, signed that document asking me, requesting that $3 million to share with Bremerton so that we can do impact studies, so we can have an ILA. We're literally talking about the equivalent of, can we continue to talk about this? But yet, it does seem to devolve into the Hatfield and McCoys of North Mason where everyone's pointing fingers at each other and getting gifts, and none of that is actually happening. The only thing that is happening right now is that we are looking a gift horse in the mouth. We have a chance to build more housing, to get more jobs from the Navy in the industrial area. Navy veterans like myself chose to live in North Mason and Belfair and Allyn, who always have to travel to the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard or Bangor to work, as I did for 15 years. And there isn't opportunities for my kids to live here or to work here. My kids cannot live or work here. I have one kid that graduated high school, does not live in our county, anywhere near it. And that's sad. It's sad. We have an ability to change that. And right now, I understand that the Port of Allyn's job is economic development, but there really isn't a whole lot of economic development at the port. And I understand that things have been thrown into a lurch once sadly Larry and Leanne passed, and you guys worked really hard to try to put the pieces back together. And we've worked really hard to help you do that. But we have unfinished projects not a stone's throw away from me. A dock that needs to be finished, a oyster house that needs to be finished, a water system that needs to be taken care of, Sweetwater Creek, you name it, right? Those should be, in my opinion, the focuses of the Port of Allyn. This is a distraction for the Port of Allyn, especially as we sit here and argue that nobody really knows the facts because everybody's rushing behind each other's backs to give the alternative facts. Let the ILA, let the study, let the entities do their work. This public financing of infrastructure is complicated stuff, right? But nobody, I don't believe, if it's Randy Netherland or David Overton or Jack Johnson or Will or Kevin, anybody in this board has any ill intentions for the people of North Mason. We need to actually start working together and talking to each other and figuring out what are the facts instead of warring with each other with our own version of the facts.
That's why we're here.
Yep, exactly. And so with that, I just thank you for your time. I would like us to focus on what we have going on right now and clear those obstacles, but not get in the way of important growth and threaten the millions of dollars of investment the state is making into North Mason right now for housing, for jobs, for economic development and business. Thanks.
Thank you very much. One thing I'd like to. Okay, very good.
And remind you, we've got about 20 minutes for, our video has another engagement.
Okay, fair enough. Just real quick, is that we are not opposed to any of this. I just want to make that clear. We're actually, for a study to be done, we're actually asking for the things that they're already doing. We're not asking for anything more or less. Basically, that Travis referred to, you know, that all these things are already in the makings, in the working. I mean, the whole sewer, we just opened up for discussion so that you all could be here. I mean, if none of you showed up, this would have been just where we stand in terms of just wanting to do, have a study done. That we would have been fine. And that whatever the whole issue that you were talking about, we're not wrapped around any of that. Just so you know.
John,
Why did we send a letter? What?
who came to you and requested you to send a letter?
Those on our, okay. For purpose of discussion, we decided to write a letter addressing the issue that's going to impact. It is.
Great. Who raised this issue for the court to take a?
We raised the issue.
All three of you independently said.
Not independently, as a commission.
As a commission.
We did, yes.
No one came to you and said, hey, I want you to take a stand.
We've been asked to take position in front of the public for a long time, and we chose not to. And we just came to the point where we wanted to write this letter. So what's happening here is we're going to like the he said, she said. And this letter speaks for itself.
He said, she said. I'm saying.
Nobody asked
Give
me.
me the context. You're asking the context about easements utility extensions, all of those things. I'm happy to provide you my intention. I'm asking you.
In a discussion, in a meeting, I asked the commission if we wanted to take a position on this. And really, there is no position on this, because we're not opposed to it.
So you're for it.
I'm for moving forward with the expansion of the sewer system in a way that we would understand how it's going to impact our local community, which means that's why the language in here is about a study. That's it.
And there's dollars to study.
There you go. So let me see it. Let me see it. So when we get to that point, and that's reference, I get that, but let's see that in writing. I'd like to see it. Okay, we're gonna move forward from here just because I'd like to see it.
There's some, to me, what this letter represents is I expect you to look after what's best for your interest. And, okay, but your interest as a business person, you're gonna take care of your business. I expect Bremerton to take care of what's best for Bremerton. The mayor of Bremerton's sole responsibility is the city of Bremerton. This letter is telling our commissioners that there's this huge dollar sign out there with all this potential. All we want is for them to set the same dollar signs and running for it, like they did with the septic system in the first place, that everybody agrees was a disaster. To sit there and go, okay, we want our commissioners to do what's best for Mason County, instead of just running towards the dollars and the potential without making sure that that is all what's best. That's all this letter says. Because we need to do what's best for Mason County.
Michael, you have a very interesting perspective, and I respect that, and that's yours. I'm a citizen of Washington State in the United States. I don't pit Washington against our country. I don't pit Bremerton against Allyn. I don't do that. I think there are opportunities like the shipyard that exists in Bremerton that benefits Mason County.
I agree.
And so you don't take positions on what's going on in Bremerton. Right?
Yeah, we're not taking a position on that.
Right?
There's
But are you for the expansion?
we are for the expansion if it's done with an understanding of how it's gonna impact our community.
Yes.
That's all. So we obviously are learning it. So as a commission, we're here to learn more about how this will impact our community. It's that simple. And that's what this says in spirit. Totally. That's it. Let's just move forward from this, sir.
It sounds like you're supporting it.
So you're looking for a hard liner here. I'm just telling you, in the spirit of this letter, we are in support of growth. And with a gained understanding of how it's impact our community here in North Mason. That's it. Good. Yes, sir.
I would just say, when I read the letter, I took it from a, more of an opposition.
Really?
Support perspective. That's just the way I read it. I think, I guess I would say this, John, is that, absolutely believe the ILA should be signed. I think the letter simply saying, commissioners, we fully support the signing of the ILA so we can get the more detailed engineering and technical numbers, primarily a design cost estimate to go with the design. That's gonna break out, transfer.
So that makes sense. Okay.
We didn't
Right,
have
but
this.
that doesn't, I
No,
don't.
we did.
We didn't have this new ILA.
We didn't see that until Monday.
Okay. So that being said,
But that doesn't answer your question. Because your question is about ultimately the economic impact.
yeah,
That would give you, okay, what would it take to put this in place? It gives the commissioner, our board of county commissioners, it gives them the information to be able to negotiate. Bremerton, you pay for this, we'll pay for that, however they operate those negotiations.
Okay.
But the bigger piece, the economic piece, is gonna be based on an estimate.
Okay,
an assumption, not a cost estimate, but an estimate of what might come.
I think this is
To
very
our
helpful.
side, to their side, so ultimately what that's asking for, you're not gonna have definitive
Right.
hard numbers. There's gonna be assumptions behind engineering, we can do.
Of course,
But the rest of, well, right, but that's why I take it sort of negative, is
Okay.
because the answer
okay,
is not really achievable. Ultimately, it's gonna be based on a set of assumptions, not a design, because that's not how, I mean, unless we can read our three commissioners' minds on how they might negotiate it,
we're,
we don't know.
we're a voice here in North Mason as a commission, and we finished with, we're not opposed. Okay, and the reason why we finished with not opposed is because, well, for two reasons. One is because we're not, okay, and the other one is, in moving forward and learning more about where we're at and where things are going. To your point, we didn't have this.
We didn't have this.
Yeah, so we'll just, for the purposes of the time, we're up against the wall here. So
Thank you.
I don't mean,
Thank
to
all
not
three
be,
of you. Thank
yeah, but I appreciate it. Okay, good. Okay,
But you're also saying we're not opposed.
we're not opposed.
If I sent that same letter, and just for a thought experiment, you don't have to do it now. Imagine if I sent that letter from me about your water system.
Oh, I'd be like,
You'd think, oh boy, David's.
if you're in our community, you have,
I am.
yeah, I know.
John,
I know that, sir. So that's that, because you are, I mean, we would do what we would do with any other voice, not because we would just do it. But Mr. Van Vesser's got a voice here. He lives in our community. I'd like to refer to him now because he wants to get to chime in on this discussion. Mr. Van Busker, because we're limited time here right now. So
Yes, yeah, thank you very much. I don't intend to dialogue with you. I just want to
Okay,
voice a couple of things.
okay,
I personally think that you should send your original draft support letter that you put together back in May or June. I fully agreed with that. And in that letter, you said that you did an analysis. And I think you should send that. I wanted to comment on the draft ILA that you recently received. Your executive director said that that was only recently done. I think that's been done 3 or 4 months now. So it's kind of a mute point. The other thing is I served on the Belfair Sub-Area Planning Committee with Commissioner Scott, with David Overton, and 20 plus other community members. At that time, my big emphasis was on the critical aquifer recharge area that downtown Belfair and the Union River Valley set on. And I advocated that the sewer focus on being up on the plateau above Belfair, where it really should be. And consequently, my wife and I removed our property from the urban growth area. It took us a long time to get it rezoned, but we removed it. And I just felt that when they started to build the sewer, they encountered contaminated soil from all the numerous gas stations that were there. They didn't do a very good scoping. So they came to some of us community members and asked us where the gas stations were, and ended up with a big cost overrun. I don't think they're going to run into much of that sort of stuff on the plateau, possibly, but that's where development should be. It's just common sense. Thank you for your time.
thank you. All right, so we're gonna move on forward here and yes, please. Okay.
Just a few clarifications, just the loan is a loan, you gotta pay back whether anybody builds or not, that's just the way it is. No big deal to it, we're expected to be paid off on our initial loans and everything in 2027. The stuff that went up the hill, it's not a county project, that was a development project. Our project was from top hill forward, going up in there. I wanna say, argue about the ILA with truth matter is, supported it myself up there. The reason why is this is different than the one that came from Bremerton. I think you see one from Bremerton, that they have that one was so restricted. Not have the ability to find out how much it's gonna cost, what the impact might be before we move forward.
Exactly.
They wanted it all upfront. This letter was different. This came up with some work with Richard to offer up the ability to move forward if this occurs, if this occurs. These abilities, anybody's entitled to do what they want. I want to know what the costs are. I want to know what the risks are. I want to know what the benefits are. The benefits is all because the Port Bremerton state opportunity was talking to the city of Bremerton. When they were done, they looked at options and they say they all sound like they're good. But of course, we want flexibility. That's what they said. You see that at their meeting. I'm not asking for anything more than what they're asking. I can see this is kind of like because there are risks. I don't know make sure the risks benefit us. We are prepared for the future that makes county. Yeah. I understand Bremerton's not, but I have to worry about our citizens. I'm representing Mason County, not Bremerton. I'm not confused there. I just want to make it clear though that I believe this is fast. I think it is forward. I think it's a much better step than what we had with what was set up by Bremerton originally. And that's the reason why the length of time is after we put it together to settle. And then people all put their problems to cut loose for us, but I agree to send it to Bremerton. That's how it works. Then they take a long look at it. It was never sent back as we want to go forward. How the commission go forward. After a vote, after a session, see if they go move it forward, sign it. If you move it, sign it, move it, spot it, so with that though, I appreciate that you guys kind of look at your issues. I also was a professional for 6 years, and it is our time. When we're sitting here, we're representing people of our community. People may not better, they may not want us to look further into it, or may want us to look further. But it's up to you to have a voice. We saw or lost here in Mason County, and those people lost their voice. We're not going to lose a voice. There's something wrong with happening. Even if I disagree with you, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to tell you my 2 cents of what I think. You're going to decide what you're going to think, and we're going to appreciate it or not. It's just the way it works. Thank you for all your time. And thank you for worrying about business here in your district.
Thank you.
Oh, gee, that's great. Judy, I tell you one thing, right? We just heard that everyone's got an opinion. And you know what? You can talk to the people and get the facts directly. So don't listen to Mason County Commissioner to find out what the intent of the city of Bremerton is. When they sent out that first draft, it sounded like our county commissioners just said, that's what Bremerton wanted. In fact, if you talk to the utility directors of both departments, the Mason County Utility Director said, send us a draft so we can start with something and workshop it. So it wasn't a final agreement, it was a starting point. And then they started having meetings. So don't assume that the first ILA that you sent down was anything that anyone thought was going to be executed. It was a starting.
So I
Go talk to the mayor, go talk to Ned Weaver, go talk to the first party people if you really want to.
So
They will be very
I can understand the frustration, like more discussion, more meetings, more discussion, more discussion. It was like, okay, and there's a lot of stakeholders here that want to move forward. Well, I think this is just a platform to bring this discussion together with some opposing argument and some and pros and cons, I guess you could say, in the short order. So I appreciate your time. You had Mr. Harris, yourself, Commissioner Nunlin, and everybody's here, including everybody online. We got to wrap this up. So I thank you for the okay. I thank you, Executive Director, for your putting together this forum today. Appreciate it very much. So that being said,
If I might.
yeah, go ahead.
So just because of all the input
Yeah.
and what the commission said, of course, I will have on the regular meeting some points to put together.
Yes.
For the commission at their next regular meeting, based on, all of your conversations today.
Okay.
And seeing of where you stand on seeing the new documentation and the new input.
Yes. absolutely.
I don't have a problem with the new draft. I mean, the commissioners, I watched the meeting and my whole thing is I wanted our commissioners to look after us. And I think that's what they're trying to do. Versus the old one was, I felt was a little more one-sided. So,
And if I might interject, I think this, the commission, report is very busy and a lot to do, a lot of things that we are. And this isn't something that I have multitudes of time to get to the commission for the information. And this is beautiful. This is what I'm sure the commission was asking.
This is what I was asking for. So that's all.
Thank you so much for all. of your-
Yeah, appreciate it very much. That being said, we are adjourned.
Oh,
what?
yeah.
You got,
No, you got the time to address these last.
okay, and then I'll retract that. They won't take. I know, I was just gonna move everything to the next meeting, but that's okay. We,
Well, I think it would be best we have stakeholders here that would like to hear comments.
I apologize for that.
Next time, put us up front.
Yeah. That's probably the order next time, right?
So I can quickly move.
Let's do that. I apologize.
The
embarrassing.
Mason County, as per one of the RCWs, to be sure that we've had the opportunity to comment on some applications for the .09 funds by both the EDC and Mason County, and of course, the Port Bridge, our neighbors.
Okay.
So, those requests were provided in the package, and there's just, if you've got any comments, would like me to present it to the county, for them to be able to use those before they approve. Now's the time to make those evident, and I will send out those comments in an email.
So do they want to speak?
Yes, please.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm so sorry. So, but I am. I my heart's back working to me right now. So, all right, let's go ahead and open this up then.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I know. Okay. Oh, I thought they had comment.
No, it's your comment.
Okay. All right. Mention, we'll start with that. What are your thoughts?
Well, wow, after that little marathon.
Yeah, I know.
There's nothing wrong with brevity.
I trust my
Well-
apologies. Go ahead.
Let me gather my thoughts here on this. I do support this. EDC has been a very impactful entity and program, as you well know. Michael, now you're on that board. I do have a question. It's probably in here already. What was the '09 funds for? Was it for operation for?
Yeah, so historically, the organization has applied all the '09 funds to personnel costs.
Okay,
And so typically it goes along with the state commerce ADO funding that we receive and serves as match to that. And then, we also propose doing some additional things in there, including more evaluation of the SEDS list projects, so that there is a little bit more structured cost benefit analysis, return on investment information for projects that are on there. And so there were a number of things that we had listed as kind of enhanced, book of business for us going forward.
thank you. Do you need a letter of support then? Is that what this is for as well, or? just-
So typically, so there's an open comment period for RCW on all the '09 applications that are received. And so you could do everything from a letter of support to no comment or something. We just,
I was heading on taking your comments.
Okay, well, I support it, obviously. We have been for many years, so.
I support it.
Yeah, for me, it's a no-brainer. Well, yeah, and the commission now, the whole board. So, I'm happy to say that we're for that. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And just so you know that last year when we went through this process, the Port of Allyn was the only entity to submit comment. And so we appreciate you guys keeping on that and the support you have to do.
Thank
So,
you. Thank you.
we're one out of a few there. I got it.
Okay, and then second, there was second request by the Port Bridge. And it had to do with their bathroom.
Okay, so can Jean share anything about that? Jean, can you share something about your application?
Can you hear us, Jamie?
Are you there, Jean?
Yeah, I'm here. What do you want to know about our application?
You want to fill us in on what it's for? I mean, we have some of that in here, but for the sake of the audience, can you clarify what this application for 09 funds are for?
It's for multiple uses. It's some maintenance and some issues that we have to fix on our port. You have to remember the Port of Grapeview has the smallest amount of money in the whole state. So our budget is usually about $27,000 a year. And so we make a little bit of money off our boat launch, and that's about it. So when we have to fix things or upgrade things, or we have projects that need to be done, we usually don't have the funds to do it. And this will enable us to be able to do that. So we are most thankful that the commission would approve of this, and hopefully we'll be able to include it in our budget for next year.
Well, thank you for attending too, Jean. Thanks for hanging in there and explaining that to us. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
For the purpose of discussion, we're in support of this. It's not an action item, so we're not making a motion, but
Provide those comments. You're right, county for their approval of these, possible.
Kind of no brainer, support them.
so, yeah, no.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, on this subject matter of, yes,
Thank you very much. I just want to point out, I was reading through the Sweetwater Creek extension request, and in it, it says that you've applied for .09 monies to use for cultural resource assessment, wetland delineation, property rezoned to mixed use. It seems like a far stretch for .09 monies, and I'd like to have further community discussion about this. I think a more important investment would be to remove the dams that are on that Sweetwater property to facilitate fish passage. Those are my comments. Thank you.
all right, thank you.
And I did make a clarification. Those have not been submitted yet. They're being drawn up.
Okay.
So that,
We have to do one before we worry about the other.
yeah, there's other things that are in the way there. We're still drawing it up. We've got letters of support for the third.
All right.
Great, thank you.
Is there anything else I'm missing there?
I just did a public records request for that information. Thank you.
Absolutely. We will put it in the queue of the other public records.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. Now we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks. I appreciate it. Thank you.